Have you ever made or thought of a game and years later it comes out and you're like, damn, I had that? I'm gonna tell you why you couldn't make that success, just like how I couldn't make White Knuckle. Wait, that's not White Knuckle. That's actually my game I made 3 years ago when I participated in the Godot Wild Jam, and I made a game called Go Get Me Some Rubies. In the game, you grab these little yellow balls in the sky and swing between them, and when you're at the top, you collect a ruby. In White Knuckles, you grab and pull or swing between objects, and it seems like White Knuckles copied me. But no, they didn't copy me, and I'm actually happy for this game developer, game studio. But what I want to discuss is, why did I not blow up like White Knuckle did when we have very similar mechanics? The first reason why I didn't become super rich off my Go Get Me Some Rubies free game is because I didn't have a tutorial. White Knuckles doesn't have a regular tutorial. What it has instead is a place to test out mechanics with no failures, with quick resets and clear feedback. If I miss a jump, I know exactly why I missed the jump, I know exactly what I'm trying to do, and I know exactly why I'm trying to do it. And I know exactly how I'm going to do it too. These are the 4 main questions a tutorial should help a player understand. And additionally, White Knuckle also has this teeny tiny text around the level where it tells you to do this.
Wait, I need to read that. Raise your hands.
And the best part about having the text plastered there and not in my face is that it allows me to think, oh, great, nerd stuff. I don't have to read that. I try it out myself. Damn, this is really hard. What am I doing? And I go back, read the text on my own accord. This design philosophy of allowing me to go read on my own accord instead of forcing it down my throat actually makes me want to read it because I'm choosing to read it instead of being forced to read something. Therefore, my point is, if my game had a little bit of a teaching and testing section instead of,
I'm gonna need you to grab from me so I can, we will get rich, but first I'll need to train you. Grab the yellow circles with your hand and a magic grapple appears. You're one of the last few magical
what it has right now, which is you just fall into the start of the level and you pick up the ropes as you go, that would have definitely helped my game. But it's not like my game didn't have any sort of a tutorial. I do have instructions, which are kind of in your face. And at the beginning of my level, I do have a fail zone where it's okay for a player to fall down and they don't really die. There's no fall damage. So in a sense, I do have a tutorial. But the issue is I don't have clear feedback. I'm not helping the player realize, hey, you did something right. Maybe do that again. White Knuckle, like other video games, has a very clear tutorial structure where if you fail, set back, and if you succeed, it's very clear that you succeeded.
Oh, frick. Okay, yeah. That right there was a good example for, missing and learning.
This kind of relates back to a video I made recently about the CWL principle in video games, where there's a very clear challenge, there's a very clear win, and there's a very clear lose. My game doesn't have that. That's why my game didn't become successful and blow up. Because my game didn't provide clear areas to experiment and play with, and because you're doing an experiment when you're testing out the mechanics, you should get results. My game doesn't really give you results, but White Knuckle does. Number 2, the best part about this video is because both games are really similar, we can really compare them to fine details and the mechanics. You can see in both games, if you press at a non-grabbable area, nothing happens. But if I press and drag over to a point where I can grab, in White Knuckle, you can grab. In my game, you can't. And you would think that this small difference makes the game so easy, but it doesn't. That makes the game fun, because now I focus and get dopamine from aiming alone, not aiming and timing my click. Again, this really relates back to my challenge win-lose principle from that past video, but I don't want you to watch it. I'll just give you the quick summary once again. In a sense, what White Knuckle does is it creates a challenge from you trying to aim the mouse properly, and you win if you can aim properly, and you lose if you don't aim properly. In my game, you win if you aim properly and time your click. That's pretty hard. And also, in both games, you have to plan the path that you're going to go up or around, which is another challenge win-lose in itself. Because my game has 3 different challenges in there, it's a lot harder, whereas White Knuckle has 2 different challenges. All you have to do is plan your path, and you have to aim the mouse and the hands. That's a lot easier. And it's not a lot easier, but it has less cognitive load. In a sense, that's a more proper operational definition of it. And I'm just being fancy with my words here, but cognitive load just means how much is going on in someone's head. White Knuckle's cognitive load is aiming and planning paths, as I mentioned, and that's only 2 items. That seems to be the sweet spot for video games. My game has 3 items that you have to keep track of at all times, and it's a bit too much. Even as the game developer coming back to this game 3 years later, I feel like this game is asking too much of me.
No!
The third reason I failed is because White Knuckle has some depth in their mechanics. Placing stuff down, you just press a button. Throwing stuff, you press a button. Eating stuff, you press a button. If you want to throw what you just ate, you have to press a different button to free up your hands. So it actually stops you from pressing the mouse buttons until you press another button on your keyboard. But in all scenarios and cases, you're using your hand.
Hi, Nat Lab from the future here. This little clip just shows me trying to figure out the mechanics, and I'm struggling, but then I get it because it's so nuanced.
Or you're not able to use your hand. And that's depth right there. In neuroscience, we call that activation and inhibition. It's actually part of my master's research, studying how the brain works. Inhibition is one of the best ways to build depth because now not only does the player have to feel happy when they do something right, but they also feel happy when they don't do something and still get it right. That's the more fun part, neurophysiologically speaking. Or in a different way, if you're using the same buttons for different things, that's fun. Especially when you have to try to master the fact that you should or shouldn't press something, that's even more fun. And my game did not have that at all. My game said, you want to move? Press the mouse button. You want to move up? Press the mouse button. Do you want to do something other than move? Too bad you can't. Press the mouse button. The reason why I like White Knuckle's mechanics a lot more is because it makes use of my two hands, the two buttons, in a unique way over and over, in a way I've never really seen before. The closest thing I've seen to this is probably Terraria's demon altars. You shouldn't hit them with certain tools because they hurt you. You have to break them after a certain point in the game to spawn certain items, and then sometimes you have to actually just stand in front of them and craft something. These different items and actions from the same thing makes the game more fun and interesting. That adds depth. Same thing, different functions. If you add a bunch of different functions with different things, that's just adding content. You want depth. You want something fun and interesting. And my game didn't have that at all. So in recap, why didn't I make a game like White Knuckle? I didn't have a space safe for the player to fail. I didn't let them learn anything about my game. I just taught them, or I just told them to figure it out.
Keep trying. Get good.
I didn't have any easy system that challenged the brain in 2 areas. I had 3 areas working all together, and that was way too much. And the last reason why my game failed is that the mechanics were a little bit too simple and lackluster. I hope you found this little game jam post-mortem after 3 years kind of interesting, and comparing it to a recent indie success that just came out, I thought that was a pretty interesting concept for a video. If you want to see this type of content again, I know this at the very end of the video, but if you want to see this type of content, please let me know. I really don't know if people enjoy this or not, but I really like making these types of videos. But if people don't enjoy them, what's the point of making them? Anyways, have a great day.